Oh, man, I hope you feel better. So we're going to start a pool on if Jackie's going to survive the night. If that's the first thing we're going to do. But here, if you have other questions about what we just covered, great. Or if you have something you've been working on, right? Either that you want to share or you want to have some help troubleshooting things. Now's the time. Anyone got anything they want to cover? Done anything cool lately? Have any questions? I got to remember to get the Jeopardy theme song to play. You hear?
Yeah, just like a background noise. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna start shutting down some stuff.
I actually like the. I have really hard time of not coughing right now.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but I do like the find text tool. I kind of like to know more about it, but again, the guy isn't that. I don't know if he's strong in English or not.
No, I don't think
but
he is. Yeah.
He kind of keeps his posts short and yeah, to the point perhaps, but still.
Your mic levels seem to have dropped some, by the way, or at least for me, it seemed to have. But yeah, we could we could have it as a full. Maybe that's what we'll have another webinar at some point of we could do it on find text as well as your presence images and maybe OCR a little bit more about finding images and clicking them. Maybe that's what we could do at some point.
Yeah, the thing with find text is that it's a tool more. It's both a library and a tool. As we saw, you use the actual GUI to take the image, and all of these things would have been great in, let's say, a class or something. So you could do the things separately. Mm-hmm. But of course, you could look through the source and try and figure out what he's doing where. But I used it at one point, and found it to be working fairly well.
Yeah, it was. It's. I think it's more robust than the built-in image search or whatever it's called, and it's sure easy to use. Right. Like you said, I demonstrated here, 20 minutes ago. Of I had the tool, highlighted it, made a couple adjustments, added it to my code, and like that, I was clicking it. That's pretty awesome.
I'd say, and that's just me defending the original image search, is that it works just as well. Let's keep it at that. But right. Because he's changing some of the parameters, let's say he's changing everything to grayscale.
Yeah.
If he's also doing that to the source that he's looking through, of course he can do it faster. But if you just clipped out the same Facebook name and asked image search to find it on your screen, it would do it just as well. You just don't have the GUI to click 3 buttons and then you have something ready to test. If you had the same for image search, it would be just as easy or just as quick to do. But yeah.
Do you remember I saw Jesus asked about that the calculator where you basically type and it offers it up? That was a polythene thing, right? If I remember right.
The monster? I actually have that on my webpage. I made a script that did that.
Okay.
But monster, look for that on the hotkey site.
Monster?
Yeah. Not Redx calculator or anything, just monster.
Huh.
There.
I'm remembering a different one, I believe, but anyway.
Yeah, but this is let's call it the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can, of course, put everything on on top of that as you like, but the actual function, the one doing the math, the one interpreting the strings and what to do with them,
Yeah.
is Monster. Is
Okay.
this one? But you can also use other stuff. You have access to maybe evalve in the scripting stuff on Windows and stuff like that. So you could probably also do it in JavaScript or stuff. But yeah, Monster was something that I can't even remember. Yeah, Laszlo, whatever that name is.
Yeah.
He made way back when. Yeah. This is actually from 12, but I actually believe I saw it way before this.
And look at that, was in 2005.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the original. 2012. Wow.
Yeah, that's when he was last active, but the actual post
Oh, really?
from someone else, sometime else.
Oh, he joined. Yeah,
so he joined in 6. So there at the top, February 28th, 2007 was the actual post.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Thank you.
11 years old.
Yeah, it to me, like, okay, this is about him. All right. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's an old function, and people have used it and probably also used other methods of doing math, but still, it worked quite well, as I remember it. But you showed an exact inline calculator. Is that right? That's what he's actually asking.
Well, mine was just you type the numbers and it replaces it. It does it automatically, right? If I literally typed 5 plus 7, it would put up 12. I had to figure the math out myself, but yeah. And I thought that was a polythene. Well, the one I had was something from polythene.
Yeah, but that's probably something he extended his dynamic hot strings with the math functions from either Monster or some other library like it. I do remember something like that. What programming language does AutoHotkey have most in common with?
AutoIt.
Yeah. It's funny to talk about this programming languages and stuff like that because, yeah, I like to call AutoHotkey a programming language, but again, what is that? And people have so different definitions of what it is. So some want it to be one of the main ones, and then a lot of times people say Python or something like that, and even though you have a lot more users in Python and people have extended it quite significantly, it's still just a scripting language. Like I'm saying, like not the same as AutoHotkey, but like AutoHotkey and AutoHotkey and stuff like that. Are you finding it?
I just remembered I have this thing, but there's nothing for was it Titan? Was that his other name?
Yeah, I had that name at one point. Yeah,
because I was thinking it would. Oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
I don't have either one.
You don't have either polythene or.
Yeah, this is that old lost. When the thing was lost, it's an archive of a lot of stuff from the forum.
Could have been because at the beginning of the lost stuff, his stuff was still available.
Yeah,
it was truly it was. So some people might not have actually taken the time to save that.
Let's come up to here. Actually, I hate the Windows search.
But yeah, I at one point made a small program. I called it Solve Math Everywhere or something like that. I think I still might be offering it somewhere on my webpage. And it's just if you select a string of a math equation of some sort, you will be able to solve it for you. It's nothing that spectacular. I liked it, but it's kind of like a precursor to making something that would be a global, like autocorrect. And today you're seeing a lot of those. And at the moment, I think I'm seeing a commercial often enough, Grammarly or something like that, through Chrome, I believe, which is kind of that. So others have had the same idea multiple times, I believe. But yeah. But he actually asked for the webinar where you were showing it, but of course you have no idea which one.
Yeah. I do recall. I mean, I know it. I would have thought it would have been either calculator or math.
But I'd still believe that the only thing you'd need to do is combine a function that can evaluate math strings like monster and then dynamic hot strings. Those two together would give you the ability to do exactly what you're saying. Type in a math equation, then ask the function, what's the outcome of this? And then put that in instead. A three-step process with using two functions. Hopefully that's doable if you know the two functions to put together. Captain Odin is saying, yeah, he also calls AutoHotkey a programming language. I do believe, I agree. Others are saying the same thing. Yeah, it might not have started that way. That could be correct, but yeah, it truly depends on what you're doing with it. But what do you actually need? The thing for me is I have had no real need. That's not correct, but I have had no need of actually switching to, let's say, Python. I've looked at it and I've done some small online courses and stuff like that. But as soon as I actually need to get anything done, I'll just switch over to AutoHotkey and get it done. And I'm like, why was I actually looking at Python for this? And I know that Python has its merits, true, but at the moment I have no need for those. And as it takes me way longer to do anything with Python at this, my current level, I'm probably never going to make the switch. Not until someday where I need to make it, because something I have to do can only be done there, or someone else has done it in that, or whatever that might be. But yeah.
Yeah, I was the same way with Python. The one thing, which actually it's funny because it's perfectly on topic. When I was learning Python, the one thing I really liked about Python was the multi-threading, and I could go do web scraping and pull down 100 different queries at one time and not have them all in line. And Hotkey, this is like 5 years ago, right? I remember him replying, "Hey, AutoHotkey H has multi-threading, blah blah blah, and you should look into it." I'm like, "Hey, I will," but on average, I don't know ahead of time all the 100 different things I want to pull at one time, right? That was the example I was doing, was pulling stock prices. But anyway, it was a cool example that I did it.
Yeah, one of the things that I know from the way that I learned AutoHotkey was, I learned it because I was doing something that to me just was mind-numbingly boring, copying something from one window to the other. And it was just like, that can't be true. Something else must be able to do this easier for me. AutoHotkey stepped in, and up until one point, I just kept extending on my AutoHotkey knowledge by always having just one more task that I could automate. And at my current job and stuff like that, I'm doing way more stuff, not so much hand-on. So I'm not writing as much code at my job as I'd done before. So I'm not having that many work-related tasks to solve. So it's actually quite hard to keep extending my AutoHotkey knowledge, because I'm running out of time when not having something I really, really need to do as efficiently as possible. So doing something on my free time is nice, and some of it is also something that needs to work quite well, but it doesn't always need to be really, really top of my knowledge, if you get what I'm meaning. No need to extend my own capabilities to make the next thing for what I'm doing myself. Whereas if it was maybe at work and I was sharing it, and it was something that I kind of like lost my train of thought.
Well, you were talking about the having a need and doing it on your own, and basically learning, I think, just to come up with something to learn, right? Of you're now kind of ad hoc doing it when you have to.
Yeah, the thing, it came from this multi-threading you were talking about,
yeah.
And I actually wanted to look into doing multi-threading, and each time I do it, I kind of end up not completing it, because learning the syntax of H and the multi-threading and how you actually do that, and keeping that straight in my head for this little thing where it would be nice if I could do, let's say, 10 at a time or something like that.
Right.
But not really saving enough time or resources on doing it at the same time. It's easier to just do it in a loop and have it do it one by one. Whereas if it was at work where it might have to do 1,000 or whatever it might be, I would have a much more inclination to actually sit down and learn it.
Gotcha.
To get it done, instead of looking at it and seeing, okay, so I need that and I need to open here and use that. Okay, but if I just write loop here and okay, so now it's working. Yeah.
Yeah, just get it done. Yeah.
Sometimes it's frustrating.
I'm much more likely to learn a lot more when someone else is paying for it. You know, I like it as a hobby, but yeah, it's you know, you got other stuff to do. So
yeah, it's a good way to put it. Absolutely. Did you find what you were looking for, or did you put it together yourself, or what did you do?
No, I didn't find it.
Okay. You tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know someone who uses it or used to use it. I'm going to write him and ask him if he remembers where it was.
Could you perhaps, just as an example, download those two things and put in a test script for us? Let's say you downloaded Monster, and if that's available, I'm not even sure it was. Or do any of you guys listening, is there an easy way to just do an eval on math equations? COM stuff is something I'm not remembering. I just think that the built-in, use the eval of IE. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Yeah, the source is not there, right? It's probably a link to the source or something. Yeah, that one, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you actually put it there. Fair enough.
Ooh. All right, here's Monster. And then what other one did you want?
The dynamic hot strings one from Palpatine, or whoever it was. That's his version of it, but that's get it here. I don't know if it's actually there. Yeah, most likely. See if it's there. Yeah. No, you can probably just copy his because I'm not sure that.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to see if that works. Captain Odin, he posted something. Valve, yeah, Redx. Okay, so you actually evolve it using the IE browser. Fair enough. Actually using the oh, okay, you actually I'm just reading the code that Captain Odin he actually posted in the chat, so that's why I'm talking gibberish. So you're using it that way, yeah, fair enough.
Would this do what he's wanting?
Yeah, no, it will not actually evolve while he's typing, but it could be extended to do that with the dynamics hot strings one. But if you type something, select it, and what's the is that Alt? Is that the sharp or whatever it's called?
WinX.
WinX. It's the WinX. Fair enough. So if you write some kind of something
like that.
Yeah, and select it and type WinX. Should change it. Did you run the script? No. You probably can't run it now with the number.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
That at least works. And of course you could extend it with a one of the dynamic hot string functions. So you could just type it and it would detect something. The equal sign of something could be your ending character.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So the equal sign would trigger it.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That's just a studio thing. I was down here, but it didn't want to throw it down there, so it apparently threw it up here. Cool.
Yeah. But if you look at the very last line in the eval function.
I'm looking at my cap mode and just put in there.
It does JavaScript as well.
So do this and then do the same thing? Or it'll calculate this. Is that what you're...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that, yeah. Boom. That's how it looks for you. That's your local time. So of course it's not giving you what that's our local time. So yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. But as you can see, the very last line of the eval function is the one that's actually, or the two first lines of the script and the very last line of the script is actually the ones doing the majority of the lifting here. You can see pointer to web browser. I find it funny that you're actually using pointer to web browser, that call sign for the variable. That's a very old.
It's what I still use.
Yeah,
it's just
you
a
do
habit.
it as well. Yeah, it's a habit, of course.
Yep.
And I remember Jethro pointing out to people that this
he did it to
P in
me.
front of the P in front of it was when it actually was a pointer to the web browser, whereas it might still be a pointer to the web browser, but now it's actually a variable holding the com equal to the pointer to the web browser, so whatever. Yeah. But yeah, those two lines, one that creates the GUI, one that navigates, so it's actually using the newest version of IE, the newest rendering engine. And then the last line down there, actually doing the command with IE, the evalve command, where you have document parent window evalve. And of course, he's wrapped it in some nice code there as well. So it's actually trying the expression and not just doing it. So be able to actually throw an error if it can't actually calculate it.
Cool.
So yeah.
Far out. Yeah, that's a way. Well, I'm sure if I broke this down and started looking at it, it would make sense. But it's still it's.
Yeah, as you said yourself, Joe, if you actually look at it, you would be able to do it, because whatever you see between the actual, you have the red X, of course. Yeah, red X, who likes looking at that, but still, it's there. But the last line with the parent window and the valve, that's solvable even to you if you actually look at it. And the same thing with the two top lines. The one that's creating the GUI, okay, you can handle that. And the one that's navigating to a local file, you'd call it, that's just a string of code. Instead of actually navigating to an existing page, you're just typing out the HTML that it's navigating to.
Yeah. Neat.
So yeah, neat little thing, piece of code, nice to have if you do a lot of math. Not that I do a lot of math. Not something that's not easily solvable in my head, at least.
Right.
Yeah, I probably do a lot of math I don't know about, but still.
Awesome.
So yeah. I don't remember where we came from, but that's not even important. Someone had a question and we answered it.
I think Jesus is getting ready to take off.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Also at the 1.5 hour mark. So.
Yep. Well, remember our next one next month. We'll go back and please re-register just to make sure you're in there. And then of course, what I would say is sign up for all of them, and that way, after the webinar, you'll get the email with the resources and the links to the video, just so you get them right away. And it'll be on AutoHotkey H. I think it's going to be really interesting to see some of the stuff he's cooked up in it. And then also what we asked was to demonstrate, because Jackie was saying, to actually change the password inside of the source code. It seems somewhat complicated, so he's going to demonstrate how to set your own password, and that way you have your unique password for your executable.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing, because you actually need some kind of I can't even remember what the name of the program is right now, but Visual Express or something like that. It just eludes me right now, or that might be the free version of it. But you need that, and you need the source, and you need to compile it, and so you need to change the password a couple of places within the source before you compile it. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be nice to actually see him do it, just to kind of know what's needed to do it, if it's worth it. Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm sure that's something that actually might be useful within the community.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot more people, if you can demonstrate it, straightforward. That's where, to me, a video and you walk through it is so much easier to comprehend and follow than reading reading now. Start like because I didn't do a great job with today's webinar of like, then you would launch this program and you do this, and the videos help. But imagine trying to read a post about that. Like that would suck. I mean, trying to follow it would be crazy.
Yeah, and also just being able to see how people are maybe fiddling around with smaller stuff that you might not actually put into text.
That's right. That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I actually did it. And I did it without even thinking about it, and so I didn't note it in my post. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. I'm gonna let Jackie go because he's dying apparently.
A little bit at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But glad you guys had a good summer, and we'll see you next month. But thanks again, and let me know if you're interested in getting interviewed. I'd love to have a one-on-one and learn more how you're using AutoHotkey. It'll help everyone else.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for today.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.